This might be the craziest NBA leak of the decade. A clip from a live stream that was never supposed to be public somehow got leaked. Kyrie Irving, after ending a live stream, thought he was offline, and then all of a sudden, he just started talking. And then he drops the line that sent the entire NBA into shock.
You sure this ain't live? Because I'm tired of pretending LeBron isn't an evil man.
Yeah, he said that. And trust me, that wasn't even the craziest part. Because once I show you the full clip, you'll see how he exposed everything that happened behind closed doors in that LeBron second Cavs era. From the power dynamics to the front office, the trade, and the so-called brotherhood. Everything fans thought they understood about their whole relationship was a lie. So buckle up, because once you see the rest of it, you'll never look at that era the same again. The moment that clip from the stream got leaked, the NBA went completely nuts. And I mean full meltdown mode. A lot of the fans were genuinely shocked, like this was a brand new revelation. But anyone following the Cavs in 2017 knew the tension existed, especially after Irving requested to be traded in July that same year. Now, 8 years later, he's finally confirmed what many suspected but never said outright, that the LeBron era felt manipulative and controlling. And let's not forget the weird clips. Fans started digging, finding moments where Irving looked irritated in press conferences or on the bench.
Circumstances or...
Don't none of us get a pass tonight. It's not just Kyrie.
There was also the infamous line about LeBron being like a father figure, and he shut that down instantly.
Because that question was crazy. When somebody asked me if LeBron was like a father figure to me, bro, that was crazy, bro. No kizzy. That was a crazy-ass question. He's like a few years older than me.
People started rewatching every interaction, and suddenly it felt like all those little signs of frustration were pieces of a bigger puzzle. By the end of that Twitter meltdown, one thing was clear. Irving wasn't just a side character in someone else's story. He had always been a star in his own right, long before the LeBron drama even existed. People, and when I say people, I mean LeBron fans like to act like Irving didn't carry LeBron in the 2016 finals. He literally hit the three-pointer in Game 7 against the Warriors that led to LeBron winning his third championship.
Let's not act like Kyrie wasn't playing at the same level that Bron was playing at in that run.
So Kyrie saved his ass because Bron sat his scary ass in the fucking corner and said, "Here, Kyrie, in the game. I'm gonna go sit on the side. Here, Kyrie, do it for me."
But to fully understand why all this tension hit so hard, you have to go back to the beginning, back to 2011, when Irving first stepped onto the Cleveland court. Because before LeBron returned, before the trades, Irving was the franchise's golden child.
Kyrie knows the clock, sends it.
Got it, Kyrie Irving! At the heart!
He was loved by fans, respected by teammates, and completely independent. He wasn't chasing super teams, fame, or control like LeBron, even till today.
This whole celebrity idea is eroding. The whole fame idea is eroding. That's sold to us, y'all. You got people out here that are human, that are acting every day of their life. They're not even real.
He was just a pure hooper, grinding and learning and building his identity without all the noise. See, when the Cleveland Cavaliers drafted him first overall in June 2011, fans got hyped. He came in with some serious promise after a short but flashy stint at Duke. Right from the jump, he made it obvious that he could ball. As a rookie, he averaged 18.5 points per game, along with 5.4 assists and 3.7 rebounds, shooting nearly 47% from the field and 39.9% from deep. Those numbers weren't just good for a rookie, they were numbers that come from a star in the making. It's no surprise he scooped up the 2012 NBA Rookie of the Year award, getting 117 out of 120 first-place votes. And this wasn't a fluke. As seasons passed, 2012 to 2013, 2013 to 2014, Irving kept showing up hard. He averaged 22.5 points per game in 2012, 20.8 in 2013, and by 2014, people weren't calling him a rookie anymore. That 2014 All-Star selection was totally earned. Irving went off for 31 points and 14 assists in the game and walked away with the MVP trophy. Through those years, Irving didn't parade around courts complaining, didn't leak drama, didn't chase super team vibes. He was quietly grinding. Reports from his high school years and early career make it obvious that he's humble and private, someone who didn't need to validate himself with the flash and hype, just basketball. Before he ever touched an NBA court, he had learned the importance of focus from his father. In his father's words, "You got a Bentley engine. If you don't go, the team doesn't go." And that mentality stuck with him. He was the kind of player who believed in hard work, staying low-key and growing quietly. The franchise looked at him as their guy, the building block. He wasn't about glamorous media moves or image, and honestly, that's what made Irving the perfect star for Cleveland. He had no need for fame, no public fights for power, no thirst for clout. Just a kid with a dream, a sweet handle, and enough talent to make everyone believe in him. So by the time 2014 rolled around, Irving had paid his dues. He was no longer the rookie. He had become a respected all-star, a franchise centerpiece, and for a moment, the heart of Cleveland basketball. And that's exactly when things started shifting. People felt it so deeply. Because this was his foundation. This was his era. Before everything got complicated. Just when Irving had Cleveland wrapped around his finger, building his legacy quietly but undeniably, everything changed. 2014 hit, and out of nowhere, LeBron James decided he was coming back to Cleveland after 4 years of chasing super teams and chasing superstardom. He just came in with no heads up or anything. The moment that contract was signed, the Cavaliers' world tilted. And to make things even worse, Irving found out like the rest of us, scrolling through news feeds, the interviews, and the headlines.
I had no idea, man. I found out that Bron was coming back like the rest of you guys. Rest of you guys in the world. I had no inclination. I had no time to prepare. It's not that it was on my bingo card, like, hey, I'm going to spend my career playing with Bron. Like, I had no idea, guys.
The team he had been shaping and building from scratch wasn't his anymore. Suddenly, he wasn't the face. He was the sidekick. Everything shifted almost instantly. The front office, the media narrative, even the coaching decisions started bending toward LeBron. His PR team, his brand people, and his media insiders flooded the organization, and the stories, interviews, and narrative became a different game entirely.
You know, every time you play with Bron, it's going to be a lot of media attention. It's going to be a lot of back and forth of narratives. It's going to be about a lot of spun narratives. It's going to be a lot of politics.
The Cleveland Cavaliers weren't just a basketball team anymore. The team was LeBron's stage, and every spotlight in town followed him. Irving was still the same elite player, still a leader, and still putting in the work for the team, while LeBron paraded himself. But that was even just one part of the whole thing, because there was also the world LeBron pulled in with him. I'm talking about that dark Hollywood energy, the A-list celebrities, and the so-called exclusive Hollywood parties where you have to sign an NDA to attend. Yeah, that whole mess. It was a whole other energy, one Irving never signed up for. All of a sudden, Diddy and other high-profile figures were part of the landscape, attending events, influencing perception, and feeding into the media machine. Irving looked at it all and immediately recognized that everything in that environment had become political, image-driven, and carefully curated. Nothing felt organic. To him, it was fake, dark, and energy-draining, and his intuition was definitely on 100, because fans would later dig out old pictures and leaked clips of LeBron at Diddy's parties. And then people started piecing it all together. I mean, this is the same Diddy who is currently in jail for 5 years for hiring people for... Well, I think at this point, we all know what he's in jail for. The same Diddy we all saw on that security cam footage doing things only a monster could do to his then partner, Cassie Ventura. Oh, and let's not forget, 50 Cent recently released a whole documentary on Diddy that showed that he was allegedly involved in Tupac and Biggie's deaths.
Do you know who was responsible for the killing of Tupac Shakur?
No, I don't. I think that Sean now, in my mature mind, had a lot to do with the death of Tupac.
Yeah, that's the same person that LeBron is close friends with. And like a switch was flipped, fans started realizing that Irving had been sensing that weird energy before the public knew anything. And looking back, it made total sense because he wasn't insecure or fragile. He was navigating a world that suddenly felt unpredictable, performative, and controlling. Everywhere he looked, the dynamics had changed. The organization, the media, and even the locker room conversations were being influenced by LeBron. And that was the turning point. From this moment on, everything Irving had built was under a new lens. But his frustration wasn't about ego or jealousy. I mean, Irving was one of the hottest players in the league already. This was more about recognizing that a system had been reshaped in a way that wasn't compatible with the energy and independence Irving had always embodied. And it wasn't just this time. Everyone knows how obsessed LeBron is with controlling everything from his media image and narrative to his teammates on the court and even the management of the teams he plays with. It's so ironic that when LeBron first played with Cleveland, he claimed that the reason he decided to move to Miami was because the Cavs had a weak front office and lacked true co-stars, meaning he wasn't enough to single-handedly lead his team to victory like every other respected legend in NBA history. Once he got to Miami, he teamed with fellow stars and formed the Big Three. And then when he saw that Cleveland got Irving, he came running back. And when LeBron came back to Cleveland, he didn't just sign a deal, he signed leverage. Those short-term contracts with player options weren't random. They gave him control, kept the front office on their toes, and made sure every move lined up with what he wanted. And the ripple effect was immediate. Suddenly, the roster started shifting. Guys LeBron had history with started pulling up. J.R. Smith, Iman Shumpert, Mike Miller, James Jones, Kendrick Perkins. All these guys showing up after 2014 like pieces being slotted into a blueprint only he could see. And then came the move that really stamped the new hierarchy. The Kevin Love trade on August 23, 2014. The moment that deal went through, it was clear that this wasn't Irving's young, rising squad anymore. This was a franchise rebuilt in LeBron's image, built around his preferences, his system, and his timeline. And it was not only the roster, coaching shifted too. In January 2016, head coach David Blatt got fired despite a 30-11 record. Suddenly, they hired the new coach, Tyronn Lue, someone LeBron also wanted. It didn't stop at Cleveland. This pattern followed LeBron wherever he went. Even with the Lakers, he repeated the same pattern. He had a hand in the Anthony Davis trade, weighed in on the Russell Westbrook acquisition, and influenced the decision to draft his son, Bronny James. The fact is, Irving couldn't grow in this environment if he wanted to stay true to himself. His style, his energy, and his rhythm belonged to a different lane, one that came with freedom, expression, and independence.
When you're playing with somebody like Bron or somebody that you guys like to compare him to, it's a different animal. It's a different journey. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're automatically expected to be at the top of the charts, the top of the league.
And if you were watching both of them during that era, from the outside, it always looked perfect. They were the superstar duo. But behind all the smiles and handshakes, behind the curated photos and media soundbites, there were cracks. Real cracks. Because Irving's request to be traded from the Cavs wasn't some impulsive move. That was the endpoint of years of friction. Years of pretending everything was fine. Years of dealing with a LeBron nobody outside that locker room had seen. Inside the locker room, Irving kept to himself. Not because he was cold or antisocial, but because it never felt like his. Teammates noticed the tension and talked about how they saw LeBron talking down to him, acting like the mentor he never asked for, barking orders like Irving was a rookie still learning the ropes. One clip even went viral of LeBron barking at Irving on the bench, giving him instructions like a coach lecturing a rookie.
As we go back to Sage Steele in the studio.
Hey, Mark, yeah, game 2 of our doubleheader is underway in Oakland.
Every time Irving stepped onto the court, every time he touched the ball, there was an unspoken hierarchy. LeBron first and everyone else second. And Irving felt it. In the tone, the energy, the way LeBron's presence seemed to loom over everything. It wasn't partnership, it was control. That tension spilled into the media. LeBron didn't just lead on the floor, he managed perception off it. From the subtweets to the cryptic lines in interviews, statements like, "We need a playmaker," or "Some guys need to grow." Those weren't casual statements. They were public jabs designed so LeBron could look clean while everyone else took the hit. Irving hated that. Being spoken about through headlines instead of real conversation? That's disrespect, plain and simple. And when LeBron called him a kid, that sealed it.
Try to do whatever I could do to help the kid out, be the best player he can be.
Irving wasn't a kid. He was a champion and an all-star. So to be spoken to like some inexperienced underling was just plain disrespect. But nothing compared to what went down in 2017. Because a couple years later, that incident would lead him to say this.
I didn't leave Cleveland. I escaped it.
People forget the Cavs explored trading him for Paul George behind his back, without warning, just like they did with the LeBron trade. Irving found out, and it shattered whatever trust he had left. And when the news hit the press, LeBron denied knowing anything and moved to protect his image instantly. But Stephen A. Smith fired back immediately, insisting LeBron did know and cared more about protecting his image than being honest.
This is the kind of stuff that gets on my last damn nerves about LeBron. So now, months later, let's clean this up to the point where he looks totally innocent and all the, I never wanted Kyrie to leave. That was never a part of the equation.
And Irving saw it for exactly what it was, proof. Proof that he was never really valued on that team. That's when Irving made the only move that made sense. He ghosted LeBron entirely and requested to leave the Cavs. But he didn't call or even text LeBron about it, which was fair since they did the same to him twice.
Did you speak to LeBron James or talk to LeBron James before you and your representatives met with ownership and let them know that you wanted out?
No.
Why not?
Why would I have to?
To the outside world, it looked cold, maybe even petty. But to Irving, it was survival. Why open up to someone who steered coaching decisions, controlled the narrative, and manipulated perception every single time? He owed himself distance, clarity, and the chance to define himself outside of that world. When he finally walked away, Irving did more than leave a team. He left a world. He left a carefully constructed ecosystem of control and influence that didn't respect him as an equal. He left because surviving inside it was costing him who he was, and he had no interest in compromising his identity to fit someone else's image of success. But immediately when he left, the Cavs realized what they had just lost. When Irving walked out of Cleveland, the Cavs dynasty that looked unstoppable on the surface was already cracking. And the second Irving was gone, those cracks turned into an earthquake. People forget this, but Irving wasn't just a co-star. He was the piece holding all that LeBron-controlled chaos together. And once he escaped, everything fell apart like the whole thing was held up with tape. On August 22, 2017, the Cavs sent Irving away and got Isaiah Thomas. And just to be clear for anyone confused, this is not the Hall of Fame Isaiah Thomas, this is the 5'9" player from Boston. They got him, Jay Crowder, Ante Zizic, and the Nets' 2018 first-round pick. On paper, that looked like a haul. But the second Isaiah Thomas showed up, he was injured. Crowder didn't fit, the vibes were off. And suddenly the team that once felt tight was moving in slow motion. And this is where you see the truth about what Irving brought to Cleveland. When Irving was there, the Cavs had a 110.9 offensive rating, one of the best in the league. Everything was controlled. But after Irving bounced, the offense dipped just a little. And the defense? They fell to 29th in the league, 29th. And that's a team that was just in the finals. Their whole net rating flipped from plus 3.2 to 0.9, and that's not because LeBron got worse. That's because the whole thing leaned completely on Irving, and it showed. And even though LeBron was good individually, it didn't matter. The Cavs weren't a super team anymore. They were a stressed-out roster dragging themselves through each series. They got pushed to 7 games by the Pacers and 7 games by a Celtics team that didn't even have Irving or Hayward. Everything was harder, and everything looked forced, because the balance that made them dangerous was gone. And it all came from the same place. LeBron's need for control finally backfired, and once Irving escaped it, the whole machine broke down. The locker room was even worse. Isaiah Thomas was calling people out. Jay Crowder looked lost, and Kevin Love got blamed for everything again. The team had to blow up half the roster at the trade deadline, which was something actual title contenders never do. But that's what happens when you lose the one person who balances the system out. And you could see the ripple effect across the entire East. Boston instantly became a contender with Tatum and Brown rising. Toronto finally broke through and won the title in 2019. Milwaukee took off, Philly loaded up. The whole conference unlocked because the Cavs' chokehold was gone. The Irving-LeBron split didn't just change a team, it changed the entire trajectory of the NBA. And then the final piece snapped. LeBron left Cleveland again. On July 1st, 2018, LeBron packed his bags and dipped to the Lakers. And the moment he left, Cleveland didn't just fall off, they imploded. The Cavs went to the bottom of the entire league and had no structure, no identity, and no spark. Just empty seats, blown leads, and a franchise trying to remember what winning even felt like. It was a LeBron-centric experiment that only worked when Irving was there balancing out the chaos. At this point, LeBron had come and left like he always does, but they had lost the one other player who could hold the floor. And this is where their legacies start going in totally different directions. LeBron went full Hollywood with the movies, production companies, the Lakers spotlight, and the whole empire. Irving went the opposite direction, got independence, took control of his career, and chose where he wanted to be and who he wanted to be. And the fan base war never stopped. LeBron fans still blame Irving for everything. Meanwhile, Irving fans remind them that Irving saved LeBron's legacy. Because without that Game 7 shot in 2016, LeBron would have been sitting at 3-7 in the finals instead of 4-6. And honestly, that tracks. Irving stuck to his truth, and honestly, it paid off. Because after all the noise and the drama, he moved around a few teams and then he landed in Dallas and rebuilt the whole narrative around him. By 2024, he was averaging 24.7 points, 4.8 rebounds, and 4.6 assists per game for the Mavericks. Kyrie was hitting threes at a crazy rate, around 40% from deep, and he was doing it in his 30s while carrying a huge scoring load on a Dallas team that was trying to contend. That shooting, plus his elite finishing, the handles, and the clutch buckets, made him one of the most dangerous offensive players in the entire league. But stats only tell half the story. The bigger win was the respect. Players around the league started pointing to Kyrie differently, not as the second-best player on the team after somebody else, but as a peer, a craftsman, someone younger guys watch and try to copy. Younger stars started admiring his footwork, his pull-up timing, and the way he uses screens. Everything turned up a notch when the Mavericks leaned into him as a leader. The team called him the heart and soul, not just because he scored, but because he set standards at practice, pushed teammates in meetings, and carried a calm confidence into games. That leadership is a big part of why Dallas stayed afloat even when injuries were piling up. And the Mavericks knew exactly what they had. That's why they moved to keep him long-term. Reports later came out saying Kyrie declined his player option so he could sign a new 3-year deal worth around $119 million. That wasn't just a business move. It showed both sides were fully committed. Dallas believed in Kyrie, and Kyrie believed in the future they were building together. That was all he asked for from a team. Then in March 2025, the season took a brutal turn. Kyrie tore his ACL, ending the year and pausing the momentum he'd built. But the injury didn't erase what he'd done. It amplified the narrative that Kyrie had been in the middle of a real redemption run before bad luck intervened. All in all, this is the story of a guy who walked away from a toxic system, rebuilt his brand on the court, earned the respect of teammates and rivals, and produced elite numbers while doing it.